Are we on? Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Microphone check. Lights. Cameras.
This is swanky. This is lifestyle. This is culture. Welcome to the social center of everything culture. Culture Daily.
PLAYING and you and me. You and me. I'm trying to find a doing word.
Does it play Ghana?
Yes. Thank you very much. My producer says PRAYING and you, me.
Yeah, I agree with him.
Agree with her, right?
And FASTING
and you,
praying and fasting.
me, yes.
That's the only thing.
And only me, SLEEPING. There is more that we could have gone with, but anyway, and that's Joey B, You and Me, classic song. And I'm told there's a sample in that song as well. We'll be getting into that conversation later on this morning. But before we do that, ASAP real quickly, it's 3 minutes past the hour of 9. Good morning to you, wherever you are. And again, good evening to you if you're going to watch it later on this evening as well, wherever you are in the world. Good afternoon as well if you're watching us online from a country where we are plus or minus 7 to 8 hours behind or ahead. It's all good, but yes, Culture Daily going global. But don't forget that to brush your teeth. Again, if you're watching us, if you're going to bed tonight, brush your teeth. If you just woke up and you're tuning into Culture Daily as well on your socials, online, brush your teeth. And if you're going to do that as well, do that with Pepsodent Cavity Fighter. And I'll tell you why, because it is fortified with pro-fluoride and micro-calcium ingredients that will seal those tiny and invisible holes in your teeth. Because when you don't brush your teeth after eating, it can lead to tooth decay, gum disease, and in some cases, foul breath. And the cool thing is that if you're buying Pepsodent Cavity Fighter and you're here in Ghana, it's 175 gram. There's a big family pack. There's a 120 gram. There's 65 and 12 gram as well. So you can afford any of these. Also, you're about to have the world at your fingertips because the wait is finally over. Telecel, like they say, is here. Billboards all over town, communication active and good and running. Now you have everything you want and need. Quick and reliable communication, stress-free money transactions via Telecel Cash. Transforming those big business ideas into success stories with Telecel Business and more. So connect with Telecel, beg your pardon, and enjoy a world of endless possibilities. Sungbinds are very international, so you can't even laugh at them. It's very.
Yeah, we wanted to let that
Telecel,
slide.
yes, connected
really
energy, and you can fly around the world like Kofi did as he just touched down from somewhere. Kofi, where did you go to?
Oh, why?
Was it a dream vacation?
I had to run from Adudi.
Oh. Listen,
But you see,
if things are getting
like Stockholm syndrome,
yes,
they just keep pulling you back.
every time I try to leave, something keeps pulling me back, telling me I need you in my life. So I tell you what, if you really want to get out of town, Wakana can help you do that, okay? Now there are sizzling deals for you, amazing flight deals, hotels, airport transfers, pickups, you name them. All this lined up for you via Wakana. Just go to their travel centers, Accra, Kumasi, Takrady, Tamale, or you can just catch them online, Wakana Ghana on socials, digital media, that's Wakana Ghana. But if you want to catch them also on their website, it's wakana.com.gh ASAP. Don't let the summer fun pass you by, please. Hurry. And download the app as well if you can make it happen quick and easy for you via Wakana. And on Friday, there is some giveaway for you on your socials, so catch them there as well. Who knows? It just might be a trip out of town. And on that note, now let me give you the preamble. So we are already struggling to find our feet on how we sound. So lately, you play a song from Ghana, you can't even tell whether the artist is Ghanaian or he's Tanzanian. I don't want to say Nigeria, so you say it's my Nigeria or Tanzania. It's somebody speaking French, so now it's becoming a problem. Speaking impeccable French. They say we want to go global, but also stay true to identity. So it is difficult to identify, or it is becoming difficult to identify a Ghanaian sound. Why do we say this? Now, if you're a foreigner, you're probably just going into town and you didn't know Eno, you didn't know Sarkodie, you didn't know Shatta, you didn't know Stone, you didn't know Samini, you didn't know Kelvin Boy, you didn't know Olive the Boy, all the boys. you didn't know any of them, Job, no, the local one, the Ghanaian ones. If you didn't know all these guys and girls, and they plug.
Once him.
What did he say?
This guy
Morning
did
time, chop
No, say it
okro.
again,
You know
say it
what
again.
listen,
This
boys.
guy did bypass.
Chop okro morning time. You know what listen.
Bro, I chop lawyer.
Then you come and say some of the
This
glass
guy did back.
international.
Come for them.
Hey,
So,
sweetheart.
yes, my brother. So, and they played their song and they took out local language for you to identify. Sometimes it might be very difficult to even tell which nationality the person belongs to or from. So, identity has become a conversation within the Ghana music space. A few years ago, say about 20 years ago, that wasn't the problem. If a Ghanaian artist sang or played a rhythm to you, you could tell it was Ghanaian. Very easy. The likes of the A.B. Crensils, the likes of the Jiduble Ambules, the likes of the, please help me out with those names. You know those names?
Ebo Taylor.
Ebo Taylor, E.T. Mensah. It was Ghanaian. Fast forward, even during the time of rap as well, when Reggie Rockstone brought the hip life, well, that is another one that people are having. But when Reggie Rockstone mentioned and brought the hip life commercially, still, you could tell that even with the adaptation of hip-hop rhythms, hey, my data is finishing, hip-hop rhythms, you could tell, sorry, I beg your pardon, you could tell that it was still being Ghanaian. Then the likes of Zap Mallet started even localizing the hip-hop. The likes of Apietus started localizing the hip-hop. And then it even became very, very local to us with the likes of the JQ, the likes of the, what's this guy's name? This guy on the Spintex Road.
Kwekuti.
No. I'm talking about producers.
Spintex Road.
This guy was used with Samini, guy who did Bandana from Ghana. What's name keeps skipping me. He did the MT and it's a chance and he has a stand. He has a name. It's not a
Quick action.
Sugar Tone. All these are producers who started giving us Ghanaian sound. The Jama. Even when it was hip hop, that Hammer also brought in a different variation or flair of type of hip hop. We felt it. It was Ghanaian. Very Ghanaian. The fronton from drum, the dudum gudum in the beats. And remember all those things, right?
But you know, the names you mentioned,
Yeah.
they do play some instruments, right? They're not just beat makers.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
actually musicians.
Yeah,
Musicians.
And that should count for something.
Yes.
Today, that's my argument.
So the names I've just mentioned, said they are musicians.
Yes, they play at least one or more instruments.
Yeah, of course. Yes. So now this generation brought us a Ghanaian sound to hold us as ours. So birthed the likes of the Tic Tacs and you name them, who managed to take Ghana to different heights as Ghanaians. Now, they say Ghana is a gateway to West Africa, but musically, Ghana became the gateway to Africa. And we opened up so wide that a generation born from the late 90s or 2000s couldn't even identify
Good morning. Good
what
afternoon.
was Ghanaian any longer, because to them, what was Ghanaian to them, I'm giving a preamble.
Preamble. But before then, let us.
I don't want to forget.
What is going on? Olili, we're doing our sound.
I don't want to forget. That you see, I'm forgetting now. That what was Ghanaian was not even Ghanaian to the Ghanaian. If you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Good. Now, yesterday, we're in a conversation with a typical Gen Z, doing a quick throwback, and a song that had been sampled to today, but finds today's version the original, and the sample was gone.
Yeah.
Here we are, looking for identity. Would it be ideal for us to go back in the past to yesterday and start picking some of the rhythms? I'm told over 600 rhythms in Ghana.
I think it should be more.
Yes, or more. Some of the rhythms, some of the classic songs, and find a way of infusing them in our contemporary drive to find identity. Could that work? If that would work, how do we go about it? Kofi is a seasoned music expert, music business expert, sound expert as well. Olele, pop culture puncher. Cyril, you see, I want you to understand the people at the table now. As for Lenny and I, we are the people who will be doing the interview.
We are entertainment people.
It's a seasoned brand and marketing person.
Brahma! Brahma!
What do you
Yes.
say?
He's a comedian.
I'm a comedian.
No, he himself.
You don't like my stand-up?
Lenny and I are consumers of the music. That's where we find ourselves. So we believe that at this table this morning, we should be able to find a cure, a lasting cure to this menace that Beat Menace has identified.
Oh, you got that wrong. To this menace that
We need
beats.
identity.
You know who I wish was here?
Who?
Kaboom.
Oh,
China shit.
I know.
You know why?
Tell me.
I think his father's song is
Che.
arguably
One of the most Ghanaian songs.
Ghanaian sampled songs in the world.
It has the most identifiable highlight riff.
It's
Why
crazy.
so? Can you break it down for us?
It's crazy.
I think it's just the musicality and how authentic it sounds.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there have been instances where other artists, Ghanaian and non-Ghanaian, open their international sets with that song across Europe, and people literally lose their minds. You know, and this topic is a slippery slope, Charlie.
Very.
But I think the answer lies in one of the Indikra symbols, Sankofa.
Okay.
Okay, you have to look to the past to forge the future, and not necessarily just blatantly copying and lifting, but also paying attention to things that are relevant for today, and sort of tailoring whatever was in the past to express ourselves, you know, in the future.
Yes.
The music conversation, I think, is way beyond music. It starts from culture. Okay.
Okay. Finish.
Culture is
Before I
basically
ask.
the way people live. Okay. And as part of the human lived experience, we express ourselves perpetually. We just keep expressing ourselves. So I keep saying that whatever we experience today in Ghana are just merely symptoms of much deeper underlying issues. You understand?
Okay. Which
So-
I would want us to address some of these underlying issues afterwards.
Right. So it doesn't. I don't think it's an issue that has an easy fix, but the fix is simple. We need to be a lot more intentional when it comes to cultural expressions. So we need a national agenda. We need a properly drafted policy on culture,
Please.
that informs a number of things.
Okay.
From education, education to media policy to even the hospitality industry. You understand? You claim we have Kente, we have all these things, right?
Aren't these things being done already? I
don't think
Aren't
so.
we drumming day in, day out from time immemorial? Like, you know, we see how nationalistic we get on certain months. We see how intentional we get in on certain campaigns, national campaigns. We hear and see all these
That's
things.
the problem.
Aren't they enough?
The fact that we had to actually sit down and relegate Friday for local wear, right? Just highlighted the problem for me. Okay. Not to say it was a bad idea, but it just sort of expanded some of the issues I'm addressing right now. The fact that you have to set a day aside to let people know that this is the day you can be yourself. Charlie, this used to happen in the days of slavery. If you read about Congo Square, in New Orleans, you understand what I mean. Where at some point the slave masters were quote unquote a bit lenient to say that, okay, you guys can choose to be yourselves in Congo Square to express who or what you are. You understand what I mean? That's proof of suppression of sorts.
Cultural suppression.
Cultural suppression. When you go into certain spaces and they tell you it is forbidden to speak vernacular, go in the dictionary and actually try understand what that word means. I beg somebody make somebody do vernacular.
Yeah.
3 laptops. Run quickly.
You see, so issues they way we for look into. You understand, and we are just.
It says here that the language or dialect spoken by the ordinary people in a particular country or region. That's one. Yes, architecture connected with domestic and functional, rather than public or monumental build. Okay, that's building. Sorry.
So I think he's talking about language.
Yeah, language. Yeah.
Yes.
So if it's a noun, that's when it's a language or dialect spoken by ordinary people,
Right.
in a particular country or region. But if it's an adjective, is a language spoken as one's mother tongue, not learned or imposed as a second language.
Thank you. Do you know what this means? It means whatever creative idea you have is being kept right from inception. It's another reason why we do not have as many great songwriters, even though from house, a majority of Ghanaians, they speak their local languages as their first language, even more than English. It's because you've never exercised that creative muscle outside the confines of everyday spoken lingo. Konako jare, fa broom ne prahasi, take a broom and sweep. Like outside, people are not given an option or a situation where they can critically dissect issues and express themselves creatively. It's a muscle they don't flex.
Is it because of language?
Oh yeah, it starts from language and lifestyle, very much so.
So these are underlining issues that have found its way to the top.
Yeah, I think we overlooked it for a long time.
You need to understand that music is an expression of culture.
Yeah.
Okay, apart from the spoken word.
I was asleep.
Somebody feels a certain kind of way. They need to express. First and foremost, you're African people. First and foremost, you're African people. We create art effortlessly without even the intent to do it. Without even like a deliberate intention to create art. Yeah. A child is born, somebody dies, somebody gets pregnant, somebody gets married, somebody does some conquest. We create art. Prayers are made, libation is poured. So there's poetry, there's fashion, there's architecture, there's music, there's drumming and dancing. And in a lot of African culture, even the distinction between performers and audience be very blurry. Joe boy, yay! And you know how people respond to the performance shapes the trajectory of the performance. So it's very much integral in our way of life. So when you start suppressing people's ways of life or people's way of life, then you actually affect the expressions or the conduits through which they have to express their culture. You understand? If you dissect every African language, right, you'd realize that etymologically they are way more advanced than a lot of languages, even in the Western tradition. It's very poetic, effortlessly. If you are familiar with Japanese haiku, short form creative writing, if you translate literally, even common phrases in our language, right? How do you say, I'm feeling sleepy or I want to sleep in Ewe? If you translate it literally, not rethink it.
Sleep is taking me away.
Sleep is taking me away. That how poetic can it get? Menikum. My eyes are killing me.
Oh, Charlie. Menikum. Oh, Charlie.
Kofi.
You don't even know how to write bars.
You understand? How do you say,
so
here's the interesting part.
Bro, I'm going to get my eyes.
You see. Oh. And here's how interesting it gets. African languages always have an encoding.
The woman has
several layers.
Obana Famila.
You need to be arrested.
You understand what I mean? That's just
I don't know the name.
It's crazy.
Mona Lisa.
And you know what I mean?
Mona Lisa.
You know what I realized?
I don't know Zabo.
You
get a picture, you get it?
If
you don't get it,
Forget
about it. If you don't know Zabo boy, they don't know how beautiful the girl is.
I'm telling you, man.
Shout out to Ketchup, man. Shout out to Ketchup.
The girl their body, I look like beans.
I don't know.
It even comes from somewhere.
The girl is trying to collect her body, it's not collecting.
You know, in that same line, they say, girl, no, pose say yo. You know that? Yeah.
But that I don't understand, yo.
You
You
say
have
what?
to ask them.
Sometimes
The market
sometimes the
skill is-
poetry.
yeah.
Sometimes
Only
the
calm down fast.
poetry goes.
You see, and it's crazy, and you realize that a lot of our forebears, a lot of our ancestors encoded their everyday experiences in the language. You understand? So you would hear things like abrofo. Okay, maybe perhaps that was informed by the nature of some of the interactions they may have had with some of these early European settlers who were inhuman towards them. Abrofo.
And then
Abrofo.
and the consistency of
Avu.
that.
Yevu. Avu.
Ayevu.
Ayavu, that's like a
Slide dog,
pretentious,
slide dog.
a pretentious
Slide.
dog.
So the fact that
or
we
slide
speak
dog,
languages, we use our language for everyday communication doesn't necessarily mean we really understand the language.
And-
because they may have been communicating on two levels,
Yeah.
to the initiated and the uninitiated. And at some point in time, Charlie, you bear the brunt of not heeding to some of these encoded messages, right? And then now there's a conversation of scales, rhythm, melody, structure, musical structure. How does that inform the narrative of what you're expressing today?
Now
I keep saying in 2024, right? Optimized local is the new global. Look at the way our cousins colonized the Amapiano sound to make it something new that Charlie, everybody and their cousin won't do so. The ripples are being felt internationally. It just cuts across. What's our version of that?
What is it? Yeah.
Too many questions.
Okay.
You know.
Cyril.
So, jumping off what Kofi said, on the timeline of events, the poetry and the ability to capture an audience with communication was native to us, right? Everything we did already had that poetry. The Western world had language, which they now had to warp and build into poetry.
But we were it.
We were already it. Do you get it? The average villager, quote unquote, back then, talking to a woman to express how he feels. Only goodness knows the poetic. You understand? You understand? I mean, we are laughing at our nonsense, boy, because it's contemporary. But I mean,
It couldn't get.
it doesn't get.
Yeah.
But you get more.
Yeah.
But we want Shakespeare. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? You understand?
The brightest of this morning has
You
given me
understand?
what?
So, in that same vein, music is poetry on a beat, on a tune, to a rhythm, to a timing, right? We have lost that direct translation of how we express ourselves and being able to capture it on musical platforms, and are rather now trying to translate through the eyes or through the ears of a Western indoctrination. You get what I'm saying?
Through the lens of it, yeah.
And that's then messes up the genetic.
Boss, it's like filtering
the
filtered
DNA. Yeah,
filtering filtered water that was filtered.
yeah. Then
So Jay Foley, I'm trying to assess somebody's beauty based on how their facial features are. But they do so with somebody who's wearing several masks. You never
That becomes difficult.
It becomes difficult.
Okay,
How
so
you go
we
fit
have
smile? You don't-
identified the problem, and it's persistent. It exists. It's eaten into us, and now unfortunately for us in this generation, we are seeing the for us coming from 80s into 90s into 2000s, we are seeing what we've lost. For those, like I mentioned earlier on, who are in the 2000s, they don't know what they've lost because they cannot compare it with anything. So it is okay for that. Now, how can we then be able to stop creating microwave music? And because it's like a big this big vast
Charlie.
this thing has been open. Everybody can just jump in and say I want to do music. It isn't a musician getting in there because I understand what music is before I create music. I don't know if
The people who are the problem is not the creation of the music. The problem is you can't take, how do I say it? You can't make granule soup with oranges.
Okay, so wait,
You understand?
no.
If I give you the perfect granola soup recipe, if Kofi tells us now how to make it, the ingredients that are making the music lack the cultural awareness, don't carry that same poetic mindset. There's a reason why your Yusundur, your Angelique Kidjo, your Miriam Makebes, your Lady Smith, Black Mambazo, there's a reason why those authentic African sounds have always been timeless. Because all these people, if you look down into it, are so deeply rooted in their cultural realities. Do you get what I'm saying? Same goes for reggae, raga, dancehall, etc. Right? There's people outside of that cultural space who do it well. But when you hear a Jamaican man artist on the microphone, nobody will tell you twice. You understand? So the problem is not that a modern artist can write how. The problem is that we need to re-socialize or reintroduce ourselves to who we are culturally. Because that awareness is where the artist needs to be created from.
So my argument is that when we were in school, I mean, cultural studies did that job for us. I mean, we had
to a
certain
degree.
You see, cultural studies did it under the context of being an examinable venture. It didn't do it under the context of this is how you should live your life. It was just another thing you had to make sure you don't forget, so that when you are quizzed about it, you can answer.
But you don't think
this is what I'm supposed to be. When they were telling us about Agokoli and Sundiata and Tohaje and things, we were laughing. And we had to memorize it.
No, but don't you think that even though they put it in as we lost it along the line,
Lenny,
unconsciously?
When you are teaching children, right, there's a difference between telling the child what to remember and then telling the child who they are. It's two different things. We were told what to remember. We were taught.
Chew and pour.
You cannot teach me who I am. You show me who I am. There's a big difference. Do you get what I'm saying? But if you put me in an institution where I can't speak the language, and then after speaking Queen's English like a parrot, I go and sit in cultural studies class, right? Where I'm supposed to memorize all these things about me that are being written and taught to me in Queen's English.
And you leave cultural studies class and they tell you don't speak vernacular.
And exactly. Even in the cultural studies class, when you speak vernacular, they go deal with you. What you are doing there, you're just confusing the children. So at the point, we just memorize it. Right? Like the point of memorization that, why do I remember Sokoto Gudali? Utterly useless. Utterly. Who did what with Sokoto Gudali? Right? It's a type of goat.
Yeah. I know, right? Yeah.
Because we all laughed about it, sang songs, teased each other about it, just so we could remember and write exams. But it's wasting megabyte. So that is what we've done wrong. And that is where, if we are going to change how we approach our literature, which will influence how we approach our poetry, which will influence how we approach our songwriting, then we can have this conversation about what the artist should do. But if the artist himself is quote unquote empty when it comes to that cultural essence,
significance,
the artist himself never visit in village before, can barely speak any local language and thinks it's a flex. Why is he going to tap into do anything for Ghanaian? That's why it's easy. That's why you see we've become sponges. So whatever is trending, we are quick to dip into it and absorb. So Ghanaian artists are now singing with Omo, which has no bearing on who they are as Ghanaians or for a Ghanaian audience. But it's easy to pretend to be Nigerian.
What do you make of the rhythms and the tunes? I mean, coming from you as an expert, what do you also make of the rhythms and the tunes you hear in our new music that we are releasing? Is it Ghanaian enough, or is it Afrobeats, which is not how?
Yes and no. It's a tricky question. Why? Because culture is dynamic. Okay. There's one thing about
you finished that. Yeah.
Things will always evolve. Okay, but in the same way, Beat Menace was able to express in a way that anyone who heard it felt aspects of the Ghanaian experience, no matter how vague that concept was.
Yeah,
he was expressing it through big band medium.
Kofi, that's where my argument comes. So the question even becomes deeper. Where if I hear Latino music,
Yes.
nothing tells me that it's Latino music. It has never been influenced by any other kind of music. It is still the farthest it will go would be
Latino music was primarily African music.
I'm saying, I mean,
Latino and Afro-Cuban music.
You even fast forward to today. That's what I used to draw the territorial lines.
Right.
That when you hear Latino music, it is Latino music.
Yes,
you can't touch it
because the average Latino
you mix it and hear still.
Jay Foley.
Yes.
How many if you watch any South American TV station, they are not speaking English. Their TV shows are not in English. Their families, most of the time, don't even come. They even in America, they don't even speak English. You understand that cultural fortitude?
If
you put them anywhere in the world,
is it that
they
we
will
have
be rattling off Hispanic languages to you. Ghanaian will go and tell you my name is Boateng.
That's what I'm saying. Is it that we have lost interest in what makes the rhythms? You see, I want to understand the mind of a producer or a beat maker, for quote unquote, a beat maker when he or she sits
I would
behind
I would like to make a huge distinction between a beat maker and a producer.
I
was going to go there.
I'm only saying that for the layman to understand, the guy who sits behind the machine to do the beats, that guy okay. I want to understand that is it that now we've at a certain point where they may not know Ghanaian rhythms,
they don't, or a majority don't,
or is it that the taste of the consumer is so dynamic, has so changed that when you try to create a Ghanaian rhythm, because I'm expecting that by now at this point in time, that's why shouts to EL. EL was one artist who liked to play songs he would change the rhythm. So it's not your regular, I think take a song like Kalu, for example.
Right.
For example, I mean, contemporary swing, different type of rhythm. The first day I heard Kalu, that song Kalu, I was like, oh, EL, here you go again. He changed the swing completely.
I think honestly, EL is one of the most
underrated. Yes,
one of the best gifts we've had musically in a while.
He changed the swing.
Yeah.
I wanted to say something that because of what you said, I can add this real quickly, and that it's two things. It's either the new producers that we have in our time are not immersing themselves or submerging themselves in our old music catalog to find ways and means to bring that kind of nostalgic effects when it comes to producing contemporary sounds, or they think that they're too experimental, that there is no need to tap into the old records. Chen Chen Dimewu was somewhere in 1978. Do you know when Reggie brought it out? 1998 from Keep Your Eyes on the Road. That sample arguably made Reggie who he was in the hip life era.
I mean, that's what was the big.
Reggie had dropped records, all right, but Chen Chen Dimewu sample Keep Your Eyes on the Road
BB
blew him up.
Yeah,
you know why?
He composed it. The late BB Collins.
BB Collins, right?
He composed.
I mean, we can talk about. I have a video that will show us, other samples that have been used or other records that have been used by no sample. But I just want to give you a context. Between 78 and 98, that's like how many years?
20
years.
Yes, but there was nothing to do in those 20 years.
No, I'm coming. Between 78 and 98, the audience there were heavy high life consumers. Reggie comes in and says, you know what, I'm a rapper. I want to rap in my local language, or I want to appeal to a certain youth or a certain audience.
So I love that.
But he was struggling to do that until he dropped Keep Your Eyes on the Road, because when you hear dun, 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 you think it is Alaji K Frimpong coming on the record, but it was a sample, and that was what really expanded Reggie's reach to the old.
Have you heard?
Played that beat?
It was the Vis-a-Vis band, and I think BB Collins.
I mean, for Reggie's refix.
Rab Bakari.
The late Rab Bakari.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
So you see, Rab is a producer. What Hama said that we don't have enough producers, but we have a lot of beat makers. This is what I think it meant. And when I was doing my research, I was like, no, these guys understood the importance of still connecting culture.
Guys, right? I'll say something really controversial, but very, very important. Some of my favorite contemporary producers do not play instruments, but they have the ears of musicians. Okay, they might not be able to tell you what scale or what chord they are playing, but they know when it's wrong and when it's right. Okay, now you cannot give out what you do not have. I'll tell you this, like, and this is coming from doing it for almost 2 decades, right? My biggest challenge when working with musicians, audio engineers, or producers.
It's more than 2 decades, bro.
Is 98% of the work I have to do with an artist, a producer, an engineer, is to re-educate them and on a lot of these things. There was an artist I was working with for 4 years. Charlie, in that 4 years, we never stepped studio. You go come my house, we cook a meal together, something you've never tried before. I give you books to read, we watch documentaries. I let you listen to music way out of the periphery of the type of music you do. You need to understand something, Charlie. Creative people, we are literally the bridge between everybody else and whatever it is you want to communicate, no matter how absurd that idea is. Okay, the same applies to fashion designers, it applies to designers or communication / graphic artists, comic people. Have you noticed our comedians, my jokes no get
Cultural context.
No, not just cultural context. You know, they feel travel even territorially. But a Nigerian walks in here, say something in a very Nigerian way, but we all go sit ground and we laugh. And to be fair, the Ghanaian audience have always been very, very diverse with their tastes. Okay, I think the last time I was here, I was telling you I was working on a project by some guys who were doing psychedelic rock in the 70s, who recorded in Kanda. People were messing with those ideas. You understand? Fela's comments, you interview Uncle Ebo Taylor, all these people, they'll tell you that back in the day we're listening to the James Browns, the Geraldo Pinos, Cream. The Ghanaian, we've always appreciated a diverse petri dish of sounds, but getting lost in it is where the problem is. Yidebab. Yeah. So the thing is, you need to intimately understand. I'll give you a classic example without mentioning names. One of our very, very important young artists who is making waves right now.
Olive the Boy.
No. I'm not going to mention names. The person they sing only in one key. Do the math.
The Ghanaian?
Yes, the person be Ghanaian.
Yes.
Very, very talented.
She's Ghanaian.
Until
you two.
No. I'm not mentioning gender.
Is somebody's name?
The person
Is somebody called she? Do you have an artist called she?
Only if sing in one.
Yes, she was. We interviewed her.
Right.
Not she.
So on the keyboard, at least by the Western tradition, we have how many notes? It be 7.
Well, do re mi.
And in between those notes, there are black keys.
Yeah.
Certain combinations of keys, they invoke certain emotions.
Exactly.
So if what you want sing to me be about heartbreak, but the key you defeat sing in only they exude happiness, we get problem.
I say they love you, they love me by force.
You understand? And this is only because we do not have proper artist development.
Exactly. So
okay,
yeah,
and we do not have people who go beyond just making a beat that is nice, because beat making there will be able to.
So just back to what Olele was saying about Reggie's.
Yes, I know. Let me make a.
You finish it.
Because your presentation I won't do. Okay. So yeah. Even actually,
have you heard Jacob Banks?
Yes,
YOLO?
I'm come to that. So that if the video is ready, let's play it.
If the video
You say
let's play it. And
3 computers.
Let's go.
Okay, we are.
Slave owner with a chain on him, masterpiece till my day's over. No limit to the grave. Get the boy had to maintain.
I can hear you asking. Life's a gamble, gotta play the card you're having. will never tell me. So we be all going to
Masanabo, Odwe, Maraminio. I like to walk, I like was sown in Nkran. My geographical area I reside in Westlands, no mouth, but your area
Ole,
bro, do you see the range? If they play these records for you today, you think, it's a mind-busting, blowing production. But the producers understood the importance of the allergic care from Ponsamp and they gave life to it. The last time I was having a conversation with the music executive and he was explaining to me why labels are buying old catalogs. Like they keep buying old catalogs. I think Drake's label is sitting on some serious catalog that allows him to tap into these old sounds. Why? Because these songs, apart from the marketing aspect, these songs evoke some kind of nostalgia, right? So in as much as you are appealing to a new generation or a new audience, you still want to keep those guys from the days of old, because these guys are still consumers of music, right? I'm just saying that we shouldn't try to reinvent the wheel when the path has already been laid down for us. You can 1975 and for about 20, 30, 50, 60 years. The last time we saw Alicia Keys and Swiss Beats listening to some Ebotela music. Only God knows what's going to happen in the next couple of years, because these guys understand the kind of depth we have in our music. I was talking to Ashwin this morning, and Masanaba was Achame Masanaba, which was arguably one of Ghana's biggest hip life records. It's also a sample from Yamoa.
Yeah.
So you see, there's a template. The leaders of our hip life days followed a particular template. They even Joey B. I think he's the sample king, right? Joey B has about 5 or 6 songs where he sampled some of these old records, and if you listen to them, you understand the importance of this culture. Is it ready?
Okay, then let's go and check out Joey's video.
Okay, let's watch this one.
Anytime, today too, everybody smile, it takes two.
Oh baby, I said my thing, I'm a made that me do. Your baby, I'm in cash, just say one kind of me, you. Yeah, I can never live without you.
Yeah, I can never live without you.
More about my life, yes, mistake, fam. Miami, who damn me, Piscasso. Pratia, me see no secret smile. Secret smile. Great smile.
Me a brand secret smile. Me a brand secret smile. Me come alive, secret smile. Look up walking, secret smile.
Like I never lie when it's awesome. You are my sweet honey. Body me see trade, a body me see You are my sweet honey. Body me see trade, a body me see God said I'm into the bro, na mata minimum. I go cause such a rackrama. Oh, I go cause such a rackrama. Oh, hey, Obi say Bansini. Hey, who cause such a rackrama? Who cause such a rackrama?
Son, let me sign. Oh, be friend me, don't leave mommy.
me don't we mommy you. On and journey them I feel no. Na baby me kweyi die. I go one.
Them Safao.
Jay, these songs that were produced by
Hang on,
were all hit songs.
Before you continue, I would like to make a distinction. A lot of what we've like heard and watched are actually interpolations, not samples. So they are new compositions, but people have taken elements as part of that new composition.
But they hit.
Yeah, it's a sample when you actually chop the original and insert it raw like that as part of the new composition. So they are very similar, but different scenarios.
From Pons, Chenche Dimewu, and Reggie's Keep Your Eyes on the Road.
That's a sample.
Purely sampled.
Yeah, right? And then Jacob Banks's YOLO is an interpolation.
Yes.
Because the basic musical idea was expressed, or they were expressed, but in different ways. You know, they inverted some of the chords, the chordal structures, and so on and so forth.
Serial is a sample.
So you see, so I think so. The only challenge I see here is, you know, express permissions and clearances, right? I'm not too sure if our older generation of hit makers understand, you know, the benefits that come with, you know, the new cats sampling their music or sampling their records. For a very long time, someone like Daddy Lumba has been a struggle, in the sense that people try to sample his records and they don't succeed in doing that, because it's two things. It's either that Lumba does not understand that sampling or interpolation gives life to his old records, or he doesn't want anybody to touch his records at all.
To chop lawyer, sometimes the purity of the song is also important, especially to the artist. Like, it's almost near impossible to sample Michael Jackson. Nobody will give you clearance. And that's because nobody wants to mess with Michael Jackson.
ABBA as well.
The few people who try to mess around with Michael Jackson went bankrupt.
That's what we see that Lumba, like anytime a young artist
Lumba is on that tangent where yes, my magic hits me and I created this thing. Leave it. It's like the pyramids. Don't go and break it and build an ultra modern pyramid.
But like what you're saying, you don't necessarily have to sample it. You know, you don't necessarily have to sample. You can interpolate it, which I think is allowed.
People don't want it touched. I'm saying that from an artist's perspective. Sometimes you create something and you just don't want it touched. Right? You want the purity, the sanctity of that expression to remain like that.
That's debatable. That's debatable. Especially, I mean, Lumba is Boga High Life, clearly. But a lot of his stuff.
We're also.
I mean, Boga High Life is not entirely a pure Ghanaian art form. I keep telling people it was an evolution of the Ghanaian sound with a lot of European.
But he has control over his product. And his product is the one he's saying that
don't touch.
Boga High Life is a big.
But I mean,
go take another one.
I think even that Lumba days have gone too far. Look at Ofira Ponsa 2005. In the 2000s, we had Ofira Ponsa, Kofi Inti. You know, look, OYA. When you play OYA in the diaspora, whether you are Ghanaian, Nigerian, to release what.
Did you watch his performance at the back then VGMA when he came on stage?
Yes, nostalgia hits the whole room.
But that album was really
classic.
Nice.
Yeah. So the thing is that if there's a certain rhythm, now let's just open the song up a little bit.
And you know who worked on that particular album?
Who?
The Otolega album.
Zapma?
You?
No. A lot of people attribute it to Apietus. But about half or more than half of that album was actually produced by JQ.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So it was JQ and Apietus who worked on that album.
So let's fifi move more. Now we say we need to use local language.
Before we fifi more, I just wanted to find out, as a music consumer, right? At which point did the ball drop? You know, did we lose that connection where I kick off?
I think,
you know, where we lost.
I think
doing that.
It actually started. I honestly think it started happening from the hip life era, because we idolize a lot of the music from that era. Not too long ago, I was listening to a lot of music from that era, and there were a lot of bad, corny records that were also produced at that time. But I guess, you know, it was a balance. So there's this romanticization. We romanticize that era. But Charlie, we had some really crap music then too.
Yeah, I almost said a line or two from one of them.
No. If you the truth,
but you see, I don't think it's because we have over the time evolved. I mean, I put up a video of Ochame Kwame and Obrafo going at each other. Then on TV3 Spotlights, you know, where, you know, on the back of Killing the Game and, you know, Kasiabo, they met for the first time and they were given the opportunity to, and when I put out the video, people were like, this is how they used to rap back in the day because they sound like Ablukum and Analyse. I'm like,
that's actually a very funny.
And I'm like, I mean, these guys were our rap heavyweights. But you don't think it's because of the evolution of time and how we have now come to accept what is.
Yes and no, because I mean, to a large extent, I mean, if you considered the musicality of, say, a Joe Mensa or a Kojo Donko, a Stan Plange, a Huru Dance Band, and you actually directly compare it to some of the stuff that was being done in the golden era of hip life, musically that was inferior.
Wow.
Yes. So there's just levels to it. But you see, like I said, the problem is you can't go around blaming young artists for not immersing themselves in the foundation of what defines whatever it is, no matter how vague or defined the Ghanaian experience is in relation to sound, because we do not have a proper policy on culture. If you go to Yankee today, there are radio stations that strictly are structured to program just Delta blues or Mississippi blues. They are playing you stuff from 1918. So that access you can easily access that stuff.
Okay.
It's not the same in Ghana.
So off the back of what you're saying, I want to do the Mfifi moves before we wrap up. You mentioned earlier on that there are certain combination of keys and stuff that trigger certain emotions and all of that.
Even singing. There's a gospel. Olele will know the lady. There's this guy.
Is it because he goes to church?
He sings with a lady.
He hasn't been to church in a while.
Tiwa or Asumafo. What's the name of that guy?
Yao Sapon and
Yao Sapon and
the lady Yao Sapon Asumafo.
Asumafo, the lady who sings, right? How she sings in Twi is a very Ghanaian way of singing. No other culture has.
Wow,
yeah, we'll see. Now, their default choice of pairing certain notes or keys together is unique to Ghana. The closest cultures that have something similar you find traces in New Orleans in Yankee.
Yes. Wow.
You'd find traces among the Surinamese in the Caribbean, and these guys had a history of being taken from here. So some of these things over time, morphed into how New Orleans people they play them horns and brass instruments. Okay. And in Ghana, we have those traditions. So here's my idea. Let's expand the conversation beyond just sampling and interpolation. How about Jay Foley has an R&B song or a reggae song he wants to express, and he has a musical idea, but he actually performs the melody by subjecting them to those chord voicings.
I see what you mean. Intelligence.
Intelligence and skill. Intelligence and skill that requires training. Here's the thing. Times evolve, right? Now with a smartphone, you can just download an app and make beats on there, Bluetooth it to your laptop, open Logic or GarageBand or Cubase or whatever and record to it, right? Now you have less and less people who are getting training on the basic fundamentals of music in school. People don't understand do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. I was working with an artist who sings. The artist can only express 5 out of the 7 notes. So in their vocabulary, they do not even recognize the existence of those notes.
Range.
You have a problem. Kwame Dazi posted something very interesting on Facebook, I think last night, and I shared it.
The singing rap thing, yeah.
It's part of it. See, we have musicians, we have artists, we have beat makers, we have producers whose melodic vocabulary by default are truncated. It means you have limitations on how much musicality you can express.
So it's not only politics that we have problem.
It's you see, but like I said, these are just merely symptoms of much deeper rooted issues, right? And until you fix it from the start, Charlie, we'll be doing polish on it.
And that's where my worry comes in. That we have walked over some of these problems for so long a time that we don't even know that it's a problem.
Right.
And there is no intentionality from any quarters to try and fix the problem. And we haven't had, we've had great, listen, I've been a beat producer, so I understand the dynamics of what you're saying very well. That it is very easy for me to walk into the studio and download my software, open my software, and then play what I feel. That is fine. And in playing what I feel, I can create some monster, which is cool, and can go viral tomorrow. Crazy. But however, the thing is that did I respect the fundamentals of true Ghanaian music to have
Did
influence?
you even know the fundamentals?
Did I even know the fundamentals of
That's
true
a
Ghanaian?
challenge.
Because the Ghanaian producers and beat makers owe it to Ghanaians to use their craft and skill to teach Ghanaians what is Ghanaian music.
Right.
It is our responsibility to create a certain wave of identity for ourselves. Take it as this: the baton has been given to us from yesterday to a new generation. It is our responsibility for this generation to be able to still maintain the lead that we had. Look, we attack governments when they don't perform. We attack black stars when they don't perform, right? We attack all these other people when they don't perform in their quarters. We may get songs that might be flying around and going viral, but all those are for today's sake. And now we are suffering identity. For those who are deeply rooted in Ghanaian music to understand or worry about Ghana's music culture, this becomes something that is eating us up. But if you don't care, just a consumer at the end of the day, and you feel like, tomorrow I'll listen to some, song from out there. It doesn't matter. It's just music. It's all music. Oh, we are all evolving. We are growing. But the thing is that if you think about this deeply, tomorrow, if they are to ask you that what defines you, what defines a Ghanaian song in your BEC question, you might end up getting an answer that is so contemporary and so westernized that you'll be lost from your own culture.
Yeah.
Chen that song, for example, I was saying that let's Fifimu. There's something about the rhythm of that song that walks the Ghanaianness in you when you hear it.
You see,
it could be rhythm.
When in doubt, go back to religion. The brass instruments are one of the few musical ensembles that elicit highly positive emotional responses. That's why they say when it's Judgment Day, you hear what first?
The trumpet.
Trumpet go blow.
You use the trumpets and the horns to wake people up, or to announce.
That's the job.
Shout outs to Hammer, man. Shout outs to Hammer.
That's the job of the trumpet, the trombone, all your horned instruments. So that it's not. We are not just hearing it though. We are also feeling it. So if you look even throughout music sampling, the reason why jazz is so preferred for jazz and blues are so preferred for sampling, especially for rappers, hip hop, and all that. It's because horns. If you have some solid drums to your horns, it's a hit, man.
Yeah.
So that is why that particular sample of ours has transcended genres, because the horn still gets the job done. So it's not the rhythm.
Beyond the horns, in that song, beyond the horns in the intro, which is alarming and awakening and all, the rhythm in the song itself has something that's, let's listen. If you go to a maybe like the conference center and there's an event happening there, and they drop these old Ghanaian classics, and you look at the response, even to the Gen Zs, the so-called Gen Zs that have forgotten what it is. You see that, like, there's this. That's why I go back to Oforian Ponce's performance at the VGMAs that time.
Bro, Oforian Ponce
it was a shutdown.
Even Tiny. I remember when Tic Tac also came on stage.
Tic Tac.
Look, everybody was just, and I'm saying
but isn't that about nostalgia?
No, there is nostalgia, which is true.
There was a time Tic Tac was so big, even in Nigeria, that like there was a big show that was sponsored by, I think it was Sound City. I still have the poster. It's part of my archives. The flagship artist who headlined the event was Nas. Wow. And he had same billing as Nas.
Our time is finished. It's pinning me.
Yeah. Wow. There's a song I want you to play.
Kofi wanted us to play a song.
Let's play it real quickly. Let's check it out. Producer, just some 5 minutes on
this is purely EDM electronic dance music.
Okay.
Inspired by Banlugu and Gumi.
Eish. I want to hear it. Hold on. Let's play it.
Is it ready?
Right. This came out. Yeah.
Okay. This your move like this. It's for us, so clap like this. This your move like this. It's for us, so clap like this. It's for us, so clap like. 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 If I move like this, you for us, so clap like this.
Tell us real quickly before we wrap up. You said White Boys did this.
Oh yeah. It's a collective known as the Busy Twist. And we have lots of examples like this. And these guys are yamming up Boiler Room and all these huge events. So it's like everybody but Ghanaians that tap into the Ghanaian sound and experience. It's actually quite shocking, really.
Kofi, anytime you come, you always your last notes. You always give me something to think about and ask you to come again. Everybody taps into Ghanaians but Ghanaians.
Yeah, but into the Ghanaian experience but Ghanaians. I think the solution to this problem is twofold. Okay, first off, we need a national agenda. We need a national policy on culture with the requisite instruments to enforce them and ensure that it informs education at the most basic level through to tertiary. We need to ensure that it informs hospitality industries as well. I don't understand why people come to Ghana. We are like a major cocoa producing company. We don't have Ghana cocoa beverages. We don't have, we are not...
We eat it on Valentine's Day.
We are not tasteful with how
we are not chocolate day.
We are really not
tasteful.
Chocolate day.
Can I choose one language to insult you? Can I choose one language to insult you?
No, because the dollar is 14 as of today, so maybe we can't afford chocolate. So we save it for 14 February.
You know, it should cut across all facets. You know, fashion. You know, and we should be more progressive. But so on the individual level, I think we need a lot of artist development, because a chunk of artists, a chunk of people in the space will tell you that all we need is investment. No, we need training. We need training and structuring first, and the investment will come. So these things, they need.
Kofi, thank you so much. Thank you so much. BTS, we'll talk about coming back. On that note, we're leaving you with more music here on 3 Music, and catch more extensions of this conversation on our socials as well. It's J. Cyril, Lenny Onele, and Kofi himself. Thank you.